Peace and blessings, family.
What's up,
Peace, peace,
Facebook
peace. We
land and all
back
the
up in
people
here.
out there? What's
How you
going
doing,
on?
sis? How was your week? We're gonna get right into it. We got a guest, so we're gonna get into it.
My week was great. I had a well, Chris, we'll talk about our day today because I really enjoyed myself at the business and brunch. I really enjoyed myself today. It was good times, good atmosphere. It was really good. So, but I'm really good. We're not gonna keep our guests waiting any longer. How was your week? First of all,
Yeah.
that was rude of me.
My week was great. So we're gonna talk about this because I really want to get into this reparation. I'm glad this brother made time to come in and talk with us. I think we need to talk about reparations and yeah, we're gonna get him on. It's gonna get some more understanding of this reparations. But I think black people don't shoot yourself in the foot. Think about reparations, think about generations, the way our ancestors try to think about us with their limited amount of what they was given. So I want to bring this brother in here. This is brother Kiss Lodgson. Peace, brother.
Peace, peace. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah, I can hear
can.
you good. We can hear you good.
Bet.
So
And
brother
apologies,
Chris,
I'm
I'm
I'm on the
excited about this
road.
reparation. Right on. We're excited about these reparations, first of all. So thank you for coming on and talk with us. So my first question to you,
Pleasure's
brother,
all
is
mine.
what made you start looking into reparations? I've heard it my whole life. I've heard older people say they ain't gonna never give us nothing, because that was their experience. But now it's mental to it now. Now, like ain't nobody saying that too much no more. But how did you get started?
So thank you for asking that question. I don't get asked that question a lot, so that's why I'm on this show because I don't get because you ask questions that I don't get asked a lot. So thank you for asking that question. Also, thank you for having me. Big shout out to you and to the whole family that's watching. To answer the question though, so I have always been interested in doing things to help my people. And it became clear to me not too long ago, in the last, let's say, 6, 7, maybe 8 years, that although we are doing a lot of things to make our people and our communities better, there's something missing. And that thing that's missing is reparations. And I came to that realization probably 2016, 2017, after doing a lot of online social media talking and learning really and exploring and looking for a better understanding of what it was that was missing. And through social media, through online, it became clear that what was missing was reparations. And so that is what got me to this latest part of the reparations fight. But I've been for my whole life, I would say since I was almost my whole life. So since I was, let's say, in high school, even a little bit before then, though, I have been interested in doing things to help my community and help make my people's lives better. So I've always had something in me that was sort of pushing me to do something, but it's just in the last, let's say, 7, 8 years that I've gotten into the reparations work.
Hmm. So reparations, what is that?
I was just about to say that. I was gonna say that because some
Ah,
people just hear the word.
yeah. So thank you for asking. I'm going to answer it in two ways. Generally speaking, a simple, easy to understand definition of reparations is when a government or individual or a company or a business or a school, whatever it is, repairs or makes amends for something that they did wrong. So there was a wrong done, and then there's some kind of amends and compensation and repair for that thing that was done wrong. So that's a general, easy to understand definition of reparations. But the way that California has been discussing and describing and understanding reparations has a little bit more to it. Generally speaking, when I'm saying the word reparations, as we talk about California's reparations effort now, we're talking about five different pieces. Five different pieces. So, according to how California is defining and describing and understanding reparations, reparations equals compensation plus restitution plus rehabilitation plus guarantees of non-repetition plus satisfaction. So what does all that mean? So compensation, that is the most easiest part to understand. That's monetary, financial checks, cash, money. Our ancestors worked for 256 plus years with
Mm.
no pay. We got to get paid for what they didn't get paid. So compensation, restitution, that's the return of land, the return of property, the restoring of you to where you would have been, you could have been, you should have been, had the bad things that happened to us never happened in the first place. Rehabilitation, these are what you could think of as the non-financial forms of reparation. So things like free college, free legal services, free medical services from cradle to the grave. Guarantees of non-repetition, these are changes to our systems, changes to our policies, changes to the way that we do things so that what happened to us in the past never happens again. And finally, satisfaction. Some people call these the symbolic forms or the symbolic part of reparations. These are things like a formal public apology from the entity or the government or the person or the company or the business or the school or whatever it is, a public apology where that entity that did the wrong admits that they did wrong and then says and affirms that they're not going to do it again, or things like changes to our textbooks to make sure that the actual truth is told, and or things like the removal of public displays of oppression and replacing those with things that are representing our ancestry, our heritage, our lineage. So compensation plus restitution plus rehabilitation plus guarantees of non-repetition plus satisfaction equals reparations.
Okay. Did you have a question before I jump in?
Well, you asked him. I was going to ask him because my son, we're talking reparations, and when he said, I told him, think of it as reparations because you're trying to repair something that you've done wrong. So that's how I broke it down to my son who's
Like,
17. They trying to repair something that wasn't there. So realistically, because a lot of people like they've been saying that forever, nothing's never going to happen, never going. How realistic is it that African Americans who have ancestors that were enslaved in this land will see reparations in this lifetime? Is that possible, and how realistic is that, in your opinion?
yeah, I think it's highly realistic, and I think it's highly likely to be honest with you. And I'm speaking specifically about California. I can't speak for the country. I can't speak for the federal government. I can't speak for other states. I can only speak about what I know, and that's here, what we're doing here in California. And so I think here in California, the chances are highly likely, and it's highly realistic that people who are watching right now, people who are listening right now, and who are going to listen and watch later on will receive and see reparations in their lifetime. And I say that for a couple of different reasons. One, because California is already moving way faster than the federal national government, as we sometimes do. California was the first state in 2020 to pass a law to create a reparations task force. Actually, our team actually helped write the final version of that law, and it was introduced by then Assembly Member Dr. Shirley Weber, now, of course, California's first African American Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley Weber. That bill created a 9-member task force to study reparations and then develop reparations plans and proposals. And California completed that reparations task force last year. And now, right now, we have, for the first time in California's history and in our country's history too, the first ever state level, California level reparations and reparations related bills on the California State Senate, on the California State Assembly, and at some point, we think this year and probably after this year too, on the governor's desk. So I think it's highly likely. I think it's highly realistic. I think we need to be, although I think it's highly likely, I think we do have to be very cautious and very realistic about the work that we need to do next to finish this and to cross the finish line. I say sometimes to our team and to us as a people that we've already made history. But what we have to do next is we've got to make what we've already done look easy.
Hmm. Hmm. And another question I have, I know you have some events cut. I'm going to make sure we get this in here before we leave. If you have anything coming up to further talk about the discussion of reparations, feel free to let people know
Yes.
how they can be there, because before we leave off of here, I'm not rushing you off, but sometimes we never get to hear about what you're doing. I want to make sure we put that in right away, so that they can get more education, because I'm learning a lot this in a little bit of time. I didn't know all this was going on.
Yeah.
Although I've been on a couple of meetings, I wasn't really following like this. So I'm learning a
Yeah.
whole bunch.
No. No, thank you. Thank you for asking. And you're doing a great job as a co-host, getting to right to where we need to get to. So thank you for that question. So yes, Saturday, March 30th, we'll be down at Florence Square at the Digital Cafe from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. to one, educate folks about what's going on at the state level, at the California state level about reparations. Help folks also understand how they can get involved. We have several very important reparations and reparations related bills that are right now, as I mentioned, on the California State Senate, on the California State Assembly. And also we're going to talk and get folks activated and involved for what Sacramento is also considering. So let me just give some background here. So as a state, I mentioned we've already taken some steps, and more steps than really any other state, more steps than our federal government, to do reparations, to actually get to reparations. And at the same time, cities and counties and towns across California and across the country too have also said, well, we see some states doing some stuff. What can we do as a city? What can we do as a county? What can we do as a town? And so San Francisco jumped out, I believe, a couple of years ago and created its own city level reparations commission, reparations task force. The city of LA did the same thing a couple of years ago. The city of Berkeley is working on something. The city of Culver City, by the way, I'm driving back right now from LA, South Central LA, where I was happy to be a part of a reparations event in LA, where, as I mentioned, the city of LA itself is also considering what it can do, and other cities too. And so Sacramento right now is also considering whether or not we as a city should create our own city level reparations commission, our own city level reparations task force. And so at the event on Saturday, March 30th, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., we are also going to educate folks and get folks activated for what Sacramento is considering. Also, lastly, Sacramento, as a part of this effort, and I know you both know this, has released a survey, a public survey, where they're asking Sacramento residents to share their thoughts, share their ideas about whether or not we should pursue reparations at the local level. So Saturday, March 30th, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. And then the following week, I believe it's Saturday, April 6th, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. we'll be at Old Soul in Oak Park doing the same thing. And there'll be many, many more events in April and also into the first couple of weeks of May.
Right on, right on. Let me
Awesome.
ask you, what is, even though I know I'm working on this with you all, what is Sacramento trying to do? Like, this Sacramento, what is they, what is the city of Sacramento proposed to do? Like, what is,
Yeah, so that's a good question, and similar to part of the last answer, but let me add to it because that's the right question to ask. So Sacramento has seen what other cities across the state are doing. Sacramento has seen what cities across the country have been doing too. And I want to say it was 2019, maybe 2020. I'm gonna mix up the year a little bit, but 2019, 2020, our city, through our current mayor, Darrell Steinberg, joined something called the MORE Coalition, MORE, MORE. And that stands for Mayors Organized for Reparations and Equity. Mayors Organized for Reparations and Equity. And I'm not sure how many cities and mayors that are a part of this, but back in 2019, I believe 2020, our city, our mayor joined this effort. And that was the beginning of Sacramento putting its foot in the water of whether or not we as a city should consider reparations. And so fast forward a little bit, last year, let's say mid last year, early last year, Mayor Steinberg, through the Office of Racial Equity, and Kelly Fong Rivas, who is the racial equity advisor to the mayor, started to look for and reach out to community groups and folks who are working on the reparations here in Sacramento, of course, and of course folks across the state also, and started to discuss whether or not and or how Sacramento might go about doing its own city level reparations effort. And so late last year, a bunch of community organizations came together. Your organization is one, ours is one too. So our organization is the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, CJEC. You can find us on all social media at CJEC Official. Of course, on the web, also www.cjec-official.org. And several other organizations, Earth Mama Healing, of course, the Stevens Foundation, the Sheba Family Farms Foundation. Who am I missing? I'm missing some folks too. If I missed you, blame it on my head, not my heart, please. But a bunch of great organizations have come together to ask residents of Sacramento, do you think as a Sacramento resident, we as a city should go forward and pursue and consider reparations and consider our own city level reparations task force? And that is part of where the survey comes from. By the way, you can take that survey that the city has out through the mayor's office right now. We have a website for it. It's www.sacrepsurvey.com. That's www.sacrepsurvey.com, SACREP survey.com, and take that survey and tell the city whether or not you think we should do a reparations effort here, and also what you think about reparations generally, broadly too, how you define it, who you think it should be for, why, when, how, etc.
Right on. Okay, so here's a hard question. Reparations, how does every Black person qualify? Like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about reparations from slavery? Are we talking about reparations for the first 50 years out of slavery, where, like, Black people had to run out of the South, which is how most of us got out here or came across from the East, because always looking for better opportunities to be treated fairly? Or do you just have to be an immigrant that's here living the American dream, but still think you're entitled to some of the money? How, or whatever reparations is, housing, land, I don't know about scholarships to school. I just, how do you qualify? What qualifies you for reparations?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And thank you for that question. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you for that question. That is a great question. Let me start at the state level. So at the state level, the State Reparations Task Force said, after many, many months of hearings, and actually years of hearings, really, and many, discussions, etc., they came up with eligibility criteria for reparations. There's generally two things you would need to be eligible for reparations at the state level. First, you need to be a California resident, preferably a current California resident, but a California resident. The second thing that you need is to be a living descendant of someone whose ancestors were enslaved somewhere in the United States. So as long as your ancestors were enslaved somewhere in the United States, I'll give my own family as an example. Our ancestors, we believe, were enslaved in Georgia and probably other parts of the South too. But I'm a California resident. I would be eligible for reparations at the state level. And we call this a ancestry or a lineage-based approach to reparations eligibility. So we call this lineage or ancestry-based eligibility. So in California, to be eligible for reparations, you need to be a descendant of someone who was enslaved somewhere in this country and a California resident. Just saying you're Black or identifying as Black or African American will not be enough to make you eligible for reparations. You also have to have the ancestry and the heritage, and your ancestors have to have been people who were kidnapped and sold into slavery, who did not come here voluntarily, and also who survived slavery, were emancipated, and then let go to all kinds of hell. So that is what makes you eligible for reparations at the state level here in California. At the city level, that will be up for us to decide. And I think what the state did is the right approach. I think what the state did is the right thing to do. And so that's what I would like to see the city of Sacramento do also, to make a lineage-based, ancestry-based eligibility for reparations.
Right on. You answered that question so
Awesome
great.
question.
I wanted to share
Yes.
while you're on the line that every month we do this thing called Women for the Community. We have different topics. Like last week, we had all the people that was running for office and everything, and Dr. Flo came, and another sister Veronica came, and this is just everyday Black women who are not a part of organization. They just out in the world working and getting in and taking their kids. This one, we're going to follow up with the election outcomes, like what's next, because we always pressuring people during election time. It was like, what we do next? We need to start asking that question. The other thing, we're going to look at
Right.
housing and reparations, because I think those three things are uniquely tied together. We know that
That's right.
7 out of 10 homes in California is owned by an agent. Our home percentage is very low. Like it
Wow.
ain't even
Hmm.
on the percentage map. Like you can't even say 1%. You can't even say that. And
Wow.
40% of the homes in Sacramento are Black women with children. So I feel like there's these links to the repair
Yep.
because something uniquely
Hmm.
is happening that we're so homeless.
That's
So
right.
when we talk about reparations attached to something else, it helps people's eyes to become open. I think sometimes it feels
Hmm.
like people who are having the reparations comment is people like, nothing against education, but sometimes we be coming from this, I are educated, but we know that most Black people ran up out the South and across the East to the West because they were looking for a better life. And I think sometimes we don't understand. I always say reparations
What
is
it
your
means.
inheritance.
Right.
This is what your
Right.
ancestors were trying to give you, but never had the opportunity to do it. That's why
Right.
it feels like we're
Hmm.
always behind that damn 8 ball,
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right.
running,
Thank you for saying
behind.
that.
Yeah. So that's an event that we're doing on the 19th, and we'll
Okay.
probably do another one. But that reparations, I feel like it should be a tie to some really serious things that are happening in our community. It's like the election outcome and housing. So, because
Right.
whoever goes in there, I want them to continue on with this reparations.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me know too if you'd like me to come and speak to the group,
Oh,
or
okay.
maybe I could or I can give you some things to share with the group too. But I'm happy to come and talk to the group also because you raised
cool. I love it.
a very important part of why we need this repair. Why I mean
Yeah.
the home ownership rates that you talked about are important to talk about. The unhoused homeless rates that you talked about
Hmm.
are important to talk about too. The fact that a lot of us are paying a lot of money in rent right now too is also
Hmm.
important
Hmm.
to talk about too. I mean, and you raised something that I think is important to say again. 40% of homeless families are black.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
likely 90 plus 99% of those people are most likely descendants of people whose ancestors were
Yeah.
emancipated in this country.
That's true.
The 50% of anyone who's unhoused is black, and I would say 90, maybe 99 plus percent of those folks are descendants also. So this is so important. So thank you for raising that, and please let me know how I can support.
I always will. I really love
Absolutely.
the work. I feel like this whole issue of reparations is long overdue, and I
Yeah,
really believe our ancestors are pushing us from the grave. Like
right,
something is owed to you. I couldn't say much for you because this system was wicked as hell, and continues to be wicked, but
Absolutely.
not quite the way it was on them, where they weren't able to save anything for the next generation. Even when they got insurance, there was stipulations with those insurance. It didn't work. It didn't amount to anything. I heard several
right,
stories where people paying they insurance every Friday. The man come on
They
the block and take
premiums and everything.
$80.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they couldn't. They had not enough to bury somebody. And I feel like we got to get up and fight for this. This is something we got billions of dollars for Ukraine. We got billions of dollars for Israel. We definitely got a couple of 100 billion for the sins of the enslaved people. Y'all, come on, quit playing with me. But I feel like we
right.
have
Absolutely.
to,
That's
and
right.
it's okay to be a black person somewhere else helping us get it. Because if you was doing that in Jamaica, I'd be helping you do it there.
Right.
I
Yeah.
would
That
be.
part.
Yeah. For sure. For
And I
sure.
want
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah. For sure.
while Chris is on here, I really want to commend you, brother. To for really bringing awareness to reparations because there's so
Thank
many times that we see black men only portrayed in lights of negativity and bad things. But
Thanks.
for you to be sitting here and be a warrior in the fight to get reparations for the descendants of enslaved people, I just want to say thank you very much. We appreciate you
Thank
for
you.
fighting the fight.
Thank you for saying that. I want to give it right. So one of the things that I've told I have to get better at is receiving compliments. So I'm going to say thank you because my natural instinct is to say you are the best, right? So thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. We are closer to reparations than we've ever been, and that is not an overstatement. That's not me making it more than it is. We are literally closer to reparations than we've ever been. We have two bills right now that are, as I mentioned before, and on the state assembly and before and on the state senate. One of those bills would create a reparations agency so that we have a place to go to apply for reparations, to go to show that we're eligible, to go to get our claims and payments processed. Any and every reparations effort that's ever happened, there's some kind system, some kind of office, some kind of department or agency set up to do the things that we have to do. Right now, we have a bill to actually do that. It's Senate Bill 490. It was introduced by State Senator Stephen Bradford, who is a member of the California Legislative Black Caucus out of the LA area, which is where I'm coming from now. So we have a live bill to create a reparations agency and office. We also have a bill, which is Senate Bill 1331, also introduced by State Senator Stephen Bradford, to create space in our budget. And I'm glad you mentioned, Rhonda, how much money we got for every other thing. But when it comes to us, all of a sudden we broke. We don't know what reparations are anymore, et cetera, et cetera. Well, right now we have a bill to create a California reparations fund in our state budget. And then we have, as a part of that same bill, a funding source to pull money from our general fund budget and put it into that fund every single year to support our direct payments, to support all of the cutting of the checks that must happen. So this is a live, real thing. And as I mentioned, we are closer to reparations than we've ever been.
What can we do to help those two? You said these are, you said bills or?
Yep.
The
Yes.
Yeah.
So these,
90. What do you want us to do to make it? I feel like that's what we got to do. What's a direct order? So I can even share this on next week. What do we need to do to push that bill forward?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So there's a couple of things. First, we're asking folks to reach out to or contact their state senators, their state assembly members, and tell them three things. One, that you support reparations, specifically you support Senate Bill 490 and Senate Bill 1331. Two, that you want them to support it. And three, that you will be using whether or not they support it or not in your decision about whether or not to hire them or fire them when it comes to election time in November. And right now we have on our website, cjec-official.org. If you go to our Take Action page, we have a call to action up right now for both of those bills. You can go to that Take Action page and you click two buttons. It'll find your state senator, your state assembly member for you. All you have to do is read the message. If you agree with the message, click the button and it will send it to those people for you. And we're asking folks to contact their legislators right now. Use that call to action. The email is already written. The script is already written. All you have to do is read it. If you agree with it, click the button and it will send it to your state representatives for you. So we're asking folks right now to reach out and contact their state senators and their state assembly members to support Senate Bill 490 and Senate Bill 1331. Lastly, we're also asking folks to contact the Legislative Black Caucus. This is the group of Black legislators at the state level. In our state, there are 40 state senators. There are 80 state assembly members. If you add 40 and 80, that's 120. 12 of those 120 are Black. 12 of the 120 are Black. We need those 12 Black legislators to be not scared, okay? Not scared right now, okay? To be very, very not scared, and to also introduce even more bills to actually cut the checks.
Right on. Dear brother, thank
no
you so
simpler
much.
than
We
that,
know you
y'all.
driving. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna be back in touch with you again because we're gonna bring you back in here again so we can get some updates on what's going on with these bills and how we doing. And I was at an event today, and when I wrapped up being on the panel, I said, everybody take your phone out. We need to do these surveys for reparation, man. A lot of women,
They came and did it. That was
yeah,
good.
they did. Because I feel like, I always
Yes.
tell people, this is your inheritance. This is what your ancestors
Right.
were trying to. This was what owed to them. So you could definitely, that's part of it. Come on, do it for yourself. Do it for your grandbabies.
Right.
Do it for the people you ain't gonna never
Right.
see. A lot of
Right.
our ancestors did that. They had hopes and dreams. That's all they can give most of us.
Hmm.
That's right.
So thank you so much,
That's
dear
right.
brother. Any closing remarks before I let you go on your drive
Well,
back?
I just want to appreciate you all. I just can't say how much enough I'm proud of us as a people. Whether you've been following this newest effort in California for the last few years, whether you just following, just learning about it now, I can't express how much I'm proud of us. We are going to do this.
Right.
And people are going to be looking back at us 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now and looking at what we did now. So thank you so much. I want to appreciate y'all. Please, you both, please keep up the great work and let me know how I can support you.
I will. Thank you, dear brother.
Thank you for
Drive
Thank
joining
safe.
you.
us, and please drive safe.
Yes, thank you.
All right. That was great. Khadijah,
We
you want
want
to
to
read
read a
these three
couple.
comments? I'm sorry.
I was
Yeah.
we on the same wavelength. Sister Belazar said they were robbed of a lot of things that they tried to get for their families. And that's the reason I believe reparations should be looked into. No one can get ahead if they don't have anything to get ahead with.
Oh, go
Real
ahead.
talk. Real talk. Thank you, brother, Sister McLean. Welcome to everybody joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One of the most dangerous things in the world is to be a black man that's educated and full of knowledge. Yes, sir. That's the
Right on.
truth.
And thank y'all for allowing us to have this brother jump in and share his information and knowledge with us. I think it's so long overdue. I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna need my ancestors check. I'm sorry.
That
That's
part.
to me, that's
The
my inheritance.
collect.
Like that's one of the reasons why black folks were never allowed to get ahead because y'all seen what we did with nothing. And I think in the psyche of this country, y'all know y'all don't want black
They
folks to have
know.
it. That's why
You got it.
you brought us here, and every system you set up was for us not to have anything. And you
Mhm.
cannot deny that. I don't care what you think. I don't really care, but I feel like I hear a lot of that. Like, well, that was yesterday. No group says that, but people who don't even know and have no real kind of respect or love for their ancestors. Because why would you even need to say some stupid shit like that? I'm just gonna call it. That's just dumb. You know why you even
Well, it
say something
is.
like that? That
It
just
is a
gets
little
right on
dumb.
my skin. What you think about that, Khadijah? And thank you for allowing me to do this.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, it's good that he came on here and shared that. Some people are, I'm not going to say ignorant to the fact, but don't really understand what reparations are and what the need is for. They just think it's black people begging because they feel like we some beggars and no, it's something that's due to us. So I'm glad that he broke it down the way that he did. I'm looking forward to uh, learning more and getting these surveys done. I also sent you the code. You could probably put it up while we're on the show too, so they can be
Okay, what'd
scanning
you
that
send it
code
to?
while we're watching to your messenger on Facebook.
Okay, I'll find it.
But you may have a clearer copy. But yeah, it's a great conversation and it's beyond time. Hey Nene, I see you looking Tanisha Davis Eastman. That's Nene. Okay, I'm sorry. I ain't Nene a long
It's
time.
okay.
Sister Belazar says,
I'm gonna find
you
that.
don't hear
I'm
anything
definitely
about a white
gonna
person. Oh, he
find
dropped a lot
it.
of nuggets. Yes, indeed. I want my ancestors to check myself. That part. Stop playing. You don't hear anything about a white person denying their heritage and everything that was left to them, which was made by us. They're still thriving on that today. Absolutely.
Right on.
That's the truth.
So I am going to find that Harriet Tubman stamp. I guess that they unveiled a whole bunch of stamps from the time of slavery, and I was going to show them to you all, but then I got to find them because I think I opened up too many windows. But anyway, and so they're unveiling her and Frederick Douglass and a few white people in that time who was in the abolitionist movement, which I'm really okay. I wish I could show the stamp. I'm gonna find it. The only thing that bothers me, I think that Harriet Tubman should have been unveiled by herself. Like I feel like anytime we honor someone from that troubled past, we have to always figure out how do we make sure white people are included in a more humane way, or the more like not all of them were slave masters, but it's like but they still reap benefit. Like I feel like sometimes what Harriet Tubman
Mm,
did was just very selfless. Like she could have just freed herself like most Negroes to do, but she kept coming back freeing people. And it was dangerous, y'all. I
yep.
don't know if y'all, but I've been to her church in Canada. I've been on some of the trails. There's also a bridge for her in South Carolina. Like this woman was about that life. Like she really believed in her Bible.
That part. And even if you've never been into those places, can y'all imagine walking from South Sacramento to Texas? You know what I'm saying? Like just pictures,
Yeah,
y'all don't even
yeah,
people we so caught up in driving everywhere and having to do us everything. We don't people hardly walk any goddamn where. So just
that's
think of
so
what she
true.
had to endure just going through that and then having to duck the slave masters and the niggas they trained to come catch her because white people could never run as fast as us, not even back then. So it was always a nigga come to chase us to get us back to the plantation. And just when we was driving to Natchez, Mississippi to see my father-in-law before he passed, and we rolled through those swamps and shit. I couldn't even I had goosebumps on my arms. We rode past those cotton fields and you can still see plantations set up. I had goosebumps on my arm. I couldn't imagine going through all that kind of stuff. I like this, yeah. So she
Real
definitely should
talk.
have had her own unveiling, period. We don't have because nobody, yeah, it was just, yeah, she should have had her own date, time, and everything to do it. But we always like, we can't never compliment a black person without bringing up somebody white like they made her. Like, it's just, yeah, that's all the goddamn time. Anything
Yeah,
great with us, like even today, I'm not even gonna get onto it, but we always have to include somebody else in our discussions and what we're doing. We can't never just unveil some shit.
yeah. So I saw.
What
I
the black
know.
person about?
Yeah, I
Tanisha
just think
said,
it's that whole
I
thing
don't
of
walk
being
to
so
my
goddamn
mailbox.
scary.
She said, I
Yeah,
don't walk to my mailbox, so I admire and respect her decision. That's what I'm saying. Like this, just think, if we just think about the physical shit she went through, take a lot of mental because you got to be strong to even be able to want to take that risk. But that lady, that shit, Harriet was, yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Walk my
We're
belt. Oh,
too
you
busy
read
tearing
those
each other
things. I was
down.
trying
That
to
is
find the
so
thing. I'm
true.
about to pick it up. We're too busy
We're
tearing each other
too
down.
busy
You ain't
tearing
never
each other
lied.
down. Yeah.
And I don't. And my thing
And
is,
cause
I can't believe we still doing that. But I also think them four devils are busy. Hate, jealousy, lust, and envy. Them motherfuckers is busy in our community.
they don't never take a day
They,
off.
they is busy in the spirit of the people. What I want to do right now, Khadijah,
Oh,
I'm gonna pull up the
come on,
code.
Tina.
What you
Tina
say?
said black folks nowadays won't walk downstairs, let alone the swamp. That's what I'm saying. Just think about what this lady endured. Like,
Yeah, that's
shit.
so. Look, ladies, we
And
are
respect
pinning
where
the
respect
code
due.
up. This is the code for to take that survey. Y'all should be, if you could, share it with your peoples, with your friends. I just feel like y'all, the day is over. The day is really over. Sorry. I'm trying to get this thing. Hold on, y'all. I'm just this is what happened when you're black. Okay, sorry. Share this. Share this. You could use your cell phone if you're not really savvy. Go to where your pictures are, where you take a picture at, put it up to the screen, and if you move it back, you'll see like sometimes it's a little box like outlined in yellow, or sometimes the top of your screen that'll come open. Click on that. Take that survey, family. Because here's my thing, and this is just my truth. If I never lived to see reparations, I think I am, but I'm just saying if I don't, I would say I did my part so that my great nieces and nephews could get their reparations. That may help them buy a house. They may help them feel liberated from debt. They may, it may help them do a lot of things. But I really believe, y'all, that our ancestors did the best they could with what they had. And now it's our time to put in for when the days we're not here, that we're fighting hard enough for it. And I hope this make black people know their family history, not the fake shit we
That
be
part.
sharing, but that real shit. Like what plantation did your great grandmother come off? I know what mine was. My great great grandmothers on both sides. You
Hmm.
know, they didn't have it. Freedom didn't mean after freedom was over they can go to college. You have to
That
think
part.
about that. After freedom, these people didn't want to let them go, y'all. So they created all of these laws to enslave them, not letting them have disability. Do y'all know that unemployment was for everyone but anybody who was a laborer or a field hand or a maid? There was a particular language that was at that time. Black women were maids. At that time, black men and women were working in the fields. At that time,
Hmm.
most carmen porters, the people who worked the trains, those were black men. They called them George. They could not get unemployment.
And those were the people who probably needed it the most because they had the most strenuous jobs and work and would need unemployment for
Right.
different times of the year when you're not cropping and stuff like that and all the physical strain on your body. They probably needed unemployment and disability more than any other people.
That's
So
right.
it's not
That's
that's
right.
not a coincidence. It's not a
That's
coincidence at
right.
all. Sister
So
Belazar said,
family.
and think of how many times she went back to the South to save all those people. That woman saved a lot of people. You can't tell me there was no God helping her. She's also says that's where
Mm,
sharecropping came in. They were still robbing us when we're providing all the work and labor?
Because they did not want to free their enslaved people. And my thing is, you should not feel ashamed, because if it wasn't for those people's strength, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. See, here's the real
No,
truth. There is something in our DNA that other people don't have. Because if you was weak, you'd have been
absolutely.
dead already. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been to some of the plantations where the slave quarters was on the ground, and most people got bit up by mosquitoes, but they don't tell you that in the story till you go face to face with it. So there is something in yours and mine's DNA. The weak people died on the way in here, bless their souls. Then we
Hmm.
came here and got branded and still survived. People died from that.
Hmm.
There were souls being like lost, dying off from this horrible thing that was happening. But there is something in yours and mine DNA that we did not die. Because the only way I could kill you now is up here. That's the only way I can kill
And
you
they're
now.
doing a great, and they're doing a great job of that. There is something in my, they're doing a great, hey, Brother Jamil
Right
says there's
on.
something in my DNA.
That's right.
And we also have to, I don't, and for those, there are a lot of black people out here that my ancestors wasn't slaves.
Well, good.
What? It's like people are ashamed to say that they have a ancestor that was a slave. It's like some people that say they ain't black and they be black as 10 midnights and they want to act like they mixed with something. That's a mental health shit. That's why you say they in your head. They already there. They're winning the battle in
We got
here.
you.
You know, that's
Yeah.
where it starts. Thoughts of things that are unseen.
Jamil,
So y'all, we nobody never
Jamil, this,
seen God, but we believe in him, right?
that's
Right.
right.
So thoughts of things that are unseen. So yeah, once they get in here, y'all,
They
it's
winning.
over with. And that's why we
They
got
winning.
the music that we got now with our culture. We the only motherfuckers in our culture where the woman is butt ass naked with tattoos everywhere. You know, we the only people in our culture where the men wearing motherfucking fingernail polish and dresses carrying purses. We the only people in our culture that have one rapper that have 11 kids with 7 baby mamas. Only in our culture where the NBA and the NFL players are coming to work with dresses and kilts and shit on. It's only in our culture that we walking around here thinking these lace fronts with these motherfucking bat wing baby hairs is really ours. It's only in our culture. Only in our culture. Nobody else is doing that. They already in here winning. It's a psychological warfare. They're winning. We're losing. Go ahead, Ro. I'm sorry.
Brother, that's okay. Brother Jamil, if you're still there, please take this survey. That's what this code is up. Just to remind y'all, this code is because in California, they are doing a survey about us getting reparations. Please share this, Brother Jamil, with your network. This is an amazing network. Tell them to go in there and take it. This is for California to see if reparations are due to us. Of course, it's due to us. You know, we've been running in this country since the country been built. We have been safe no place. You understand what I'm saying?
That
We have
part.
been safe no place. So yes, everybody should be flooding this damn thing. Like, look here, we surveyed over 50 million people and only 1 million live in Sacramento. I'm just saying. It should be
Hmm.
ridiculously overwhelming that we tell y'all, like, yes, we deserve reparations. What is wrong with y'all?
Hmm.
When they gave Jewish people reparations, they didn't even have to do no goddamn survey because they're that valued.
That
Shit,
part.
value yourself. Share this with your friends, your family. Take a picture of this. Send it to everybody in your email and say, hey, fill out this survey. And remember, Earth Mama Healing sent it to you. But hey, I think we're working on this with them. So I want to say, no, I'm talking to my community. I was just at an event today. Khadijah, you want to talk about this event we was at today?
We went to an event. I think it was called Business and Brunch. I'm not really sure, something like
Yes,
that.
it was.
Let me read this comment first. And for anybody to think that we don't, that something is truly wrong, and I believe it is psychological warfare going on. Come on now, people, wake up. You may never lie. We went to Rolanda
Thank you,
was on
brother.
a panel of business and brunch today, put on by a young sister. I think her name is Sylviana.
Yes.
At a black-owned establishment in Old Sac, so that was awesome. Really nice event place. It was cool. You know, it was my first time being at that place. Rolanda was hilarious. You know, she gonna drop some jewels, but she dropped one thing on it that had the whole audience up laughing for like a good 10 minutes, y'all. It was hilarious. But one interesting thing to me, and I'm not knocking it, was when they had one sister on the panel. Well, they had the young girl on the panel, Rolanda. Then it was a Hispanic lady, and she stood up very proudly saying she represents the Hispanic something something. So my first thing was, well, what the fuck is you here for? Because everybody in here is black. So that confused, it was an instant turn off for me. I'm a turn off person. You can say something in the first 3 minutes, and the rest of the time you talking, it's like womp 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 womp. She was womping with me, but they other ethnicities have no problem big up in their people. She made it very clear that she works to bring awareness to Hispanic needs and everything. So I didn't really understand what she was on the panel for, but she was there nonetheless. And they talked about all kind of things about, what you would tell yourself 25 years ago, what you tell young entrepreneurs coming up and stuff like that. And I just think, and listening to her, and then some of the people in there were trying to say the politically correct words instead of just really getting to the meat and potatoes of what we were there for. They wanted to say everything that sounded good, but it was just, yeah, it was different. It was different. But we should all patronize that. I think it's Firehouse Grill or something like that, or
Our
Firehouse
place,
Alley
our place.
Firehouse, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, it was interesting. But I was glad that Rolanda was there to really make sure we understood that we was black folks, and we got to be talking about, we got to worry about black people issues first, because we like to really go global. It was great to see the Hispanic women. I'm glad we are all
Go
inclusive, but
global.
I never see black people that know shit that Mexicans do. We can't even, they only messed up a taco stand next to their shit. I never see us at anything for Hispanic pride, Hispanic anything. They be Hispanics there. So I didn't understand what her part was. I was just confused on that. This is my opinion. So I couldn't even tell you what the hell she talked about, because every time she talked, I kind of tuned out a little bit. When she started off with, I'm Mexican proud. Well, and I'm not nothing against her. Be proud of who you are. I just don't want to hear the shit. That
I
was my thing.
I just feel what keeps ringing in my head, Khadijah, is white supremacy. And I hate talking about white supremacy. Anybody know me? I hate talking about white supremacy because that's when niggas be like, that's why I can't move. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I think that America got to sustain white supremacy because they had reinforcements that came from outside the country.
That's the real talk.
Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants. No, immigrants aren't victims. They migrated here. That means they came here for something.
They can't. Yeah.
They didn't come to join
They
our
came
fight.
here free, and they came a free will.
Yeah. So if you was out there picking tomatoes, that's because you would get at least paid 20 cents a potato or tomato, but black folks didn't get nothing. So you were reinforcements for them. You never said who was here before us and why are you using us paying us 20 cents when you know 20 cents is ridiculous. But you stepped right in and gladly tried to sidestep us on something that we built.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm not one of those people. I'm nice to everybody. People know me. I've been all over the place, but I'm very clear that immigrants' fights are not mine.
That part.
I'm very clear. I definitely want you to have bread and water, and I want you to have a nice place to stay, but it cannot be on my back.
That part.
I'm trying to get this whole thing of slavery off my back and their descendants off my back. That's why we're going for reparations. But I cannot do that and help a group to come in here and their job is to sidestep me. You don't get to be a victim when you come
Their
here.
their job is to make you obsolete. That's
Yeah.
their goddamn job, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. So yeah, that's why I just wish black people would get through their head that we do not have to include other people in our shit. We are bomb all by our goddamn self, and we don't really need. We have our answers to what we need. They don't have it. What nothing that lady could tell me could help shit that's going on in my life. All the schools she's been to, and the children she's had, and all the committees she's on, and who she worked. None of that shit will help me do anything in my life. I
Mhm.
want to come to something where I'm getting fed something that can help me do better or to know better. I don't want to hear sitting here some Latino lady tell me about all the degrees shit she got and who the committee she's on. I don't, and name drop who the fuck she know. I don't. It was young sis. If you watching, don't do that no more. Go find it. It's obsolete. I'm just gonna keep it all the way gut. It's obsolete. We don't need that. Let her go talk to La Familia and them and again leave us the fuck alone. It just she was dry as fucking white toast that's overcooked. She was dry as hell. Go ahead. I'm
Wow.
sorry. Sister Belazar
You made
said,
a comment?
you guys say that earlier that we have to share all our things with everybody else, but don't nobody want to share nothing with us. Never. Never. Yeah, they just don't. We have carried everybody else. It's time for us to carry one another, and we could not be worried about them and how they feel. Too bad you guys have milked us dry. It's time for us to get together. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep, the new labor. Yeah,
So we'll be posting
I
this thing throughout the this um the
so
bar. So I can my brain is like on something else. We'll be posting that throughout the thing. But I want to get to something, y'all, that me and Khadijah discovered this week and thought this would be great for the conversation. And if I can find this right here. Can y'all see that?
and you can zoom in a little bit.
I'm doing it now. There we go. It's close as I'm getting.
Got it. I gotta put my. Hold on, y'all gotta cut my camera quick and plug my charger in. Go ahead, Red. Go ahead, bro.
This says new bill makes men legally responsible for child support at conception. Gotta know what y'all think about this. I think this sounds like a wonderful bill.
I think it sounds wonderful, and I think it also needs to be a DNA test at the time of conception. Because far too many times I watch paternity court and the man done paid for a child for 20 something years and help with college ain't even his damn child. I think it's great. I think it would limit a lot of people just keep having babies like it's just a trend, you know what I mean? Like they getting a haircut. I think we'll eliminate a lot of that because the responsibility is a big thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think it should
Mhm.
be some DNA tests or something backing that up because, sometimes people be very busy with their bodies and sure their lady parts with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. Hey, because I mean, you do have to, you do eat more when you're pregnant. You do have to have prenatal care. You got to go to the doctor. There are a lot of expenses that come with carrying a child. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a great thing. It shouldn't just all be on a woman and the man gets involved once the baby comes. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's great. But if they do that DNA test though with it, that's that's gonna be some shit.
I think that'll be great. They can either do it while she's pregnant or when the baby get here, but I also think men need something to make them be more attached. Like in some cultures, when a woman have a baby, they wrap a string around the man's penis, and every time she have a labor pain, she pulls it so he can be a part of the labor.
Right?
And I
Feel
think
your
if men
pain.
had to do that, they'd be like, "We not, hold on, play. I gotta, no, 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 I'm not going. I'm horny, but I don't want to do it." Because I feel like we
Right.
have to have something that makes it feel equal. I don't know what y'all think.
And then I wonder how would they enforce this? Because right now, I know a bunch of people who have filed for child support and don't get a goddamn penny. The man run from the child support people. They beyond the child support. They won't work so that they won't have to pay child support and all kind of stuff. So
That's a
you
good
know, I
question. I
mean,
didn't
it
even think
sounds
about that.
great in theory, but I don't know what they would do to enforce this because they don't take care of the baby out the goddamn belly. So I can't see a man step up and take care of the baby in the belly. So, but it's a good thing. The Belazar says, "Oh yes, we need to do all of it early. We need to get that money flowing. Also, if you got eggs that are in the freezer, we need to start paying child support for those." Oh, I agree, 120,000%. Yeah, I would love that, girl. I would have pulled that penis right on off. Oh no, I'm lying. I didn't have labor pains, but I would have pretended. Give a
Yeah, I thought
little
that was
feeling.
interesting. So I think this whole thing about child support, what y'all think about that? Do you think if your son out there doing something and a woman say she's pregnant with her child, would that matter?
That part.
I don't
And
know.
maybe it will make
Y'all
men
think
stop
about
being so loose. Women ain't
it.
the only one loose. Men, men be dipping in 5 different pots at the same time. Some people be. We had a cousin that bragged that he had 3 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
So that was
Five.
three different women.
Is that
Five,
five?
no, this 30. This they're all at the same age at the same time. He got like
Oh, okay, okay,
19 goddamn
okay.
kids, but he had 3 30-year-olds at the same time. He was very proud to let us know that he had 3 30-year-olds. I thought it was disgusting. I was a little embarrassed, but he thought that shit was cute. So
You said you was a little embarrassed. I
I
was a
was.
little
That's a
embarrassed.
little embarrassing. Like, wait a minute. Um, these are things your kids need to hear you say. Um, you got to open that up a little more. That print is small for me. Uh, you're
That's a
the
big one.
best thing to ever happen to me. Do y'all think we? And I think sometimes children that we all love our children differently, but sometimes when we're expressing our disappointment and we're expressing what we would want them to have, we are a lot more vocal on that. But sometimes we're not always giving them caring, loving words just to help them get through the day.
Mm.
Let's talk about what you think. What else? There is nothing you could do to make me stop loving you. I'm here to help you figure things out. You don't have to earn my love. I'm sorry it wasn't okay for me to say it that way. Now, how many parents, and we all came black, how many times have any of parents apologized to their child for getting at them crazy? How often is that? Or when we're in our anger and we come back, I was really upset at me to yell at you like that. I've done it, but that's not very common. Sister Tina said, I want to evaluate the situation. If the nigger ain't got nothing, then it defeats the purpose. Right, exactly. Yeah, so
But I
um,
still think, and I agree with you, Sister Tina, but I also think that doesn't mean he can't go through the motions. I don't know. I just think there's something about, I don't
some
really care
accountability.
what his situation is. 'Cause if that was the case, I shouldn't have gave him no pussy. So I'm just saying, I feel like if the dude is broke, then why would you be trying to? Because if you're having sex with somebody without a condom, that he has a possibility of being your child's father. And I just feel like sometimes as women, we talked about misogyny today, and one of the biggest supporters of misogyny is women, because we have 50 million excuses about what this fool did that it's okay. Instead of being like, dude, I'm not giving you none because you can't afford if we make a child. You shouldn't even be out here wanting to do it to nobody because you broke. You ain't even got no job. Why do you need sex? And you can't even supply food on your own table for your own self. But I get you. I agree with the paternity. She said, but I agree with the paternity test. Sister said, I don't know. My parents didn't have it, but I have. So, I also feel like right now we're dealing with a lot of stuff around parents, parenting, husband and wives, stepwives, not stepwives. I don't know if you would call that children. And I feel like, how do you feel when women are, and how do I say this, injecting themselves into relationships of the first family of children? How should a woman proceed if she marries a man and he has, say, I don't know, 6, 7 kids from his first relationship? How is it important for the new kids to like her? Is it important for her just to kind of be quiet, especially if she was messing with this person when they were married to the first person? Like, do you be vocal? Do you shut the fuck up and be like, hey, like this your kids? Do you remind him that these are his first children before I came along with my sets of kids? Like how that's the real. I'm trying to understand this because I'm from old school, so I just really feel like when I'm dealing with men and they're married and they may be complaining about their children, I always say, well, y'all probably need to talk that out, or pray for your baby and then call it tomorrow. Like I'll start talking even in a softer tone because I don't want to ever perceive that I am talking about your children because they were there way before you met me. But that's just what I think.
And I agree wholeheartedly. I think sometimes that's a good question. When you become a part of a blended family and there were children here prior to your relationship being established, you try to just fall the fuck back and get in where you fit in. You really don't have an opinion. You don't really have a dog in the fight when it comes to this. And they don't have to welcome you. You married the father, you didn't marry the children. So I think sometimes people, and you said they were messing with the husband before he got divorced from his first wife. So at this point, you a side chick that got wiped up. At one time, side chicks were silent because they knew that shit was embarrassing to be a side chick. Now these side chicks are very brazen and very vocal and feel like they're very entitled. You know what I'm saying? They're very entitled, and I think you got to sit back. It's not your business to input yourself into somebody's situation with their children that they have prior to you. You don't know the relationship dynamics. You don't know what the children are going through. And oftentimes, and I've experienced this, my father didn't remarry, my mom was alive, but he had a whole different set of family that he treated differently than he did his biological children. And so, yeah, I experienced that shit firsthand, and it's not cute. It's not cute. It's hurtful, and you don't know what those children are feeling while you coming in thinking you can insert yourself in their family dynamic, and you just got your ass here, and you played a pivotal part in the parents not being together. Sit your ass back, humble yourself, and shut up. That's what I think, and be happy that you're even allowed to have an opinion. That's just me. That would just be me.
Hmm. Family, any thoughts? I got kind of quiet on that because when I seen this things your kids need to hear from you, I don't know how does this really play into, especially as you get older. This is what I always tell men, folks in particular, women too, but I feel like men folks more so is that you won't always be young forever. You won't always have this penis that's part of your power plays. You get old, the shit gets shriveled up, you lose life force from coming so much. You're not as healthy as you were. And I feel like you got to remember that when you're young, because when you get old, y'all be needing people when you're old. You want to hear I love you more when you get old. You want somebody to come make coffee for you and hey pop pop and all that kind. You want to be able to be there. And I find with a lot of women, that's all we have as we get older. That's all we have is people there propping us up and loving on us for real. That's really all we have. But most of us never really understand that as men folk, because I don't know if men tell that to other people. I don't know if men is doing that. Be honest. You don't want to be by yourself. You don't want people to say, "Oh, that's my dad, but this nigga ain't worth shit." That's gotta hurt you to your core. It's gotta hurt you to your core.
It
I don't
might.
know. What's your thought, Khadijah?
I said, well, you'd have to have a heart to really give a fuck. Some of these men are heartless.
Mm,
They are really, when they call people sperm donors, that's some real shit. Some people just provide the sperm for the child to get here, and that's pretty much all that they are able to give to the child is life.
that's
And
deep.
so you have to have a heart to really understand that you are first of um, neglecting your children in a mental state, because you could people I pay child support, that's one little small part, because the mama gonna make sure the baby got what they need anyway. But people think because they pay child support, that's it. They're not there in the day-to-day live. They're not there when the baby's, they're not there at celebrations, they're not there at school recitals, they're not there for parent teacher conference, they're not there to take the child shopping, they're not there when the child hit puberty, they're not, you know what I mean? So that the child support is a very small part in what a father, contributes. But you have to have a heart to understand that you have fucked up some stuff. And I don't know too many men, particularly of a certain age, that will go back and apologize or even right their wrong,
Mm,
unless they're on their deathbed. And at that point, like, who gives a fuck? You about to be up out of here. But they wait till they, on their last leg and got two oxygen breaths left, and then they want to tell all their kids sorry for, putting the new kids before them, neglecting them. It's sad. But you have to have a heart. And I find that some men are just heartless and they love to be the
damn.
victim.
Well, I think that Khadijah is probably like a real, there's so many real conversations as a black community we need to have. And I feel like as many times as we talk about white supremacy and systems holding us back, it's okay to talk about how we hold ourselves back. It's okay to talk about cultural norms that are unhealthy and that's tearing us apart. What is not okay is to keep blaming white supremacy when you're the person perpetrating it. I don't want to hear about no white group of white men pulling strings because I don't even know these niggas. But I do know black
Yeah.
people and I know how we interact with each other. And I know how we're not always fair. We're not always thinking about, is this a good look? We're never really thinking about that because we're so quick to blame, other entities. Like I really don't know these people. I really don't know them. I
Mhm.
just sometimes I get really stuck right there. I get really stuck with trying to have real conversations about accountability. I hear so many things in my class with girls talking about how their fathers got new families and forgot about the kids that they had the first round in their life. And they never want to talk to their dad again. See, that's hurt. So we know young girls are talking like that because they're hurting, right? But I
Mhm.
also felt like at some point, I fought some of the women because if you with this new man, have some balls. Don't you know how it feels not to have your kids have a daddy?
But the
It
thing
cannot
about it
be.
is, a lot of the times, these new wives that come into relationships, she has her children, he has his. She's very okay with him neglecting his children, but not her motherfucking children. He's present at everything her children do, and that's a low down dirty dog. She's a low down dirty bitch right there. Any woman that will let a man take care of their kids and do for yours and not do for the ones that came out of his nutsack, you a low down piece of shit. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. For you to want a man to neglect his children but love on yours, bitch, you sick. And at one time, new wives wasn't even invited to shit. You sat in the car when he came by to pick up the kids or whatever. Now y'all so damn bold.
That's real talk.
I don't even remember new wives and ex-wives really hanging out being friends. Like, I hang with nobody my man used to lay it down with. Why do I want to be? I don't even want to be around you. So to just right there is sick that you want to be, but also the way you got him, the way you're gonna lose him. And if you say they was fucking around before he got divorced, she don't want him around that ex-wife. She don't want him
That's,
around no woman
that's real
because he
talk,
might be
Khadijah.
dicking her down, and then she be the third or fourth or fifth motherfucking wife. Just being honest.
Real talk. Y'all, as we wrap up, I want to run some things by y'all. On the 22nd, the Regina King as Shirley, Shirley Chisholm,
Shirley Chisholm.
fearless, fierce, and first. Hello. If you think we never had a
Shirley
black
Chisholm
woman
was
run for
about the
president,
life.
we absolutely did. Please tune into Netflix to see her. I'm just giving her a plug. First of all, I love me some Regina King. I love the work she's doing, and
Right.
I'm glad she took on this as a film because I think it's important
Hmm.
for us to know about who she is. So that's
And
that.
we do have some great black women in history that we can be talking about.
Yeah,
She's definitely one of them.
yeah,
Shirley Chisholm
yeah.
also wasn't the norm of what people thought was beautiful either. So that's why we don't hear about her.
Yeah.
We only hear about certain people because she looked a particular way. But go on now.
And we also want to remind y'all that this week, on Tuesday, we're having Women for the Community. It's our monthly discussion for women. And this week, we're talking about the election outcome. We're talking about housing, and we're talking about reparations. So come on out, sit with your sisters. Come on, get your cup of coffee. Maybe we have a pastry or two, and sit on down and add your voice. We're also going to have some people coming that can help us with this housing. I don't know about y'all, but housing is a real issue in the Black community, and I think we're not talking about this enough, but we need to talk about it more.
Hmm.
40% of the unhoused Black people in Sacramento are Black women with children.
Hmm.
40%. So if you couch surfing, you homeless.
Large number. Right.
You homeless. And I think that's just not cool. We shouldn't be having people out here sleeping in vans and shit. Now you meet some young people that take a van and turn it into a house. That's different. But you should not be living in your
And, but,
house.
and to be honest, if you're a renter, you have the potential to be homeless because since there's no cap on rent increase. A lot of people know right now that if their landlord said we're raising the rent by $1,000, you would be part of that homeless number.
That's
So,
real talk.
we got to be real. Yeah. We have
That's
to
real
be. I have
talk.
somebody right now I know that's looking for a place, and she's a single parent, and everything starting the two bedrooms is starting at $2,600.
Which is shameful.
It really
Absolutely
is.
shameful. Also, do not forget to fill out the survey. Please take a picture of this if you haven't. This is the reparation survey. Every week we're gonna post this and make sure y'all share it with your friends, your coworkers, share it with people. They're trying to make sure we can get reparations here in Sacramento. Fill out this survey, family. We need y'all to do that like ASAP. Lastly, the last
Yes,
two
need to
things,
be heard.
Khadijah, before we wrap up, because I'm trying to keep us within a certain time window. Oh, it didn't even post up. Hold on. The other thing is we want to talk about these last two things in here. Here we go. We'll go with those last two things. Okay, so the first one is going to be the first of the last two, Kicks for Kids. Tell us about this, Khadijah.
Picks for Kids. This is put on by Elisa Scott and Del Anthony Bradford, I believe. I'm sorry, not of this Kingdom Clothing. He owns that. But they do Kicks for Kids more than once a year. But they have one coming up on Saturday, April 6th, and it will be at the Impact Sack on Elkhorn Boulevard. And they give out new clothes, used clothes, but mostly new. Tennis shoes and everything, you guys. And they feed the community. They do a lot there. And so if you have new or clean clothes that you want to donate, please, um, donate to them. It's a big need for people that need clothes and shoes and just whatever you can give. If you have monetary donations or anything, but Elisa and Del Anthony have been doing this more than once a year, and it's a very good turnout. And it's for the community, and so let's be a part of it if we can. Kicks for Kids toy and shoe drive. So
And they have several drop
make
off
sure we shout them
locations. The pop up at the Arden Mall, Jessica Elisa Studios, City of Trees Print and Embroidery on Franklin Boulevard, and Elevated Life Church on Florin Road. Family, please support this Kicks for Kids. We always want to shout out people who are in our
out. And
community.
I want to And I
But
want to give a congratulations to Del Anthony, who proposed to his beautiful woman over the
yeah,
weekend, and she said yes. So
yeah.
salute to Black Love, and check out their podcast. I believe it's on YouTube, Kingdom Conversations. It's a Black couple, and they're talking about real things. So congratulations to Del Anthony and his beautiful bride to be.
Right on. And then
What it means to be 18, 2024. Let's talk the legalities of what it means to be 18. Ro, tell us a little bit about this.
okay, so this is like a 4 hour summit that's designed to teach young people between 17 and 18 about the legal, civil, and political obligations of turning 18. Because too many young people don't have a social security card, don't know they need ID, don't know how to fill out a job application, don't know what it means to register to vote. When we vote, why is that important? Whose salaries are we paying? How to interface with the police? How to monitor your credit score. How does that affect you renting some place or buying a car? Like very basic stuff. We do this in a matter of 4 hours. And the first one we're doing this year is going to be at Luther Burbank. We're also talking about doing two at two Laguna schools and maybe one more school in the North area. So I just feel like I try to work with
It's
like
at
50 kids
3,500.
at 3,500 because I love them because they include
At
this in their kids' school
3,500.
days. I thought that was kind of dope because too many young people don't
I
know
love it.
anything about that. That's the crazy part.
Mhm.
So that's that. And the very last thing I'm going to show you is this summit that we have coming up, which I think is very important, even though the flyer is not all the way complete. Okay, hold on. This thing is getting on my
That's
nerves.
all right. Still tell us a little bit
Okay,
about it.
yeah. So this is what it means to be. I mean, it's called cherishing our black girls. Even though we did change some things about it, we'll put the updated flyer up. But here it is, and it's really about helping black girls to come together. It's Earth Mama Healing in our rightful place for a day of food, fun, friendship, and self-development. We find that black girls
Love
in
it.
today's society really struggle with being with each other because they live in an era where everything is about competition and all of that bullshit, and that is simply not helping our people. So, if you know
Absolutely.
some young people between those ages, don't have, yeah, 13 and 18, send them on out. Send them on out. We want to
And
hear
I
about, we want them to connect with each other.
And I think these type of things are wonderful because sometimes in our community, black girls only get together to do shit that's not good for them, like fighting or sneaking out to see a
Hmm.
boy or being
Hmm.
messy on social media. So for them to be able to come somewhere and connect and just kind of get to know each other in a positive environment, a very safe environment, because you don't play none of that bullying shit. I've sat in some of your classes and it's comedy, but all that, you don't make anybody. So I think it's really important. No, seriously, because we had teachers like that back in the day that you felt safe in their classroom. You knew you might get bullied all over the campus. But you came in her classroom, she was not standing for it. And so it needs to be a place where black girls can come and put their armor down. Because sometimes these black girls walk around here with armor, y'all. It come out
Yeah.
as a loud mouth, it come out as being aggressive. That's an armor. They got their shields and shit up because there's too much going on. So I think this is really great for them to be able to come together in a safe space and get to know each other. You might make some lifelong friends in there.
And I
Never
want to
know.
share this with y'all real quick. Last year, we had these girls, two of them from South Sac, two of them are from Rancho Cordova area. They did a photo shoot. And what we researched is we came up with For the Love of Her campaign. We highlighted, we think all these wonderful, powerful women that people love. I love Viola Davis. I think she's a wonderful actress. And we said, how do we connect who they are to who these young girls are? Because at some point, Viola Davis was just like one of these girls in the picture finding her way. And the first one we came up with
Mhm.
Viola Davis, empower black girls. The bottom says black women and girls are disproportionately represented as victims and survivors of trafficking. Our numbers very high.
Very,
That's
very high.
one poster. Then there was another poster as we wrap this up. Then there was another poster that the girls produced, and this one had Oprah Winfrey on it. And it says, For the love of her, Oprah Winfrey, love on black girls. Violence against women stops here. Gender based violence, including domestic violence, impacts an astonishing number of black girls and women. We know that when we look at that black femicide number. We
That
know that
part.
before that happens, before she is murdered, she usually was beat up on and faced a lot of domestic violence in a lot of cases, including the young
Mhm.
sister we just lost on 14th of February. Then it was
And
another
thank God
flyer
they
that
caught
they
her
did.
killer.
These are all posters that the girls came up with because they wanted to bring awareness, not just to us, but other girls. That's why we have realistic black girls on there. For the love of her, protect black girls. Now we know Beyonce got something called the Beehive. You don't mess with Miss Beyonce, okay? She
Hmm.
got a whole beehive that will be on your ass. Now imagine if black girls had a whole community of black people,
Gonna be on
the
your
Black
ass.
Women Hive, whatever, who come on their ass. It says black girls and women have higher rates of homicide than any other race.
Mhm. That's real.
And when y'all kill black women, y'all shoot them in the face. Y'all do a lot of shit that means you have to be up on her to kill her. This is not a drive-by. Some of them could be, but most of them are right
I
up in
should
your
have
face.
I should
What
have
you got?
shared this. We could put it on here. It was a young lady. One of my friends had shared it to my Facebook, and I should have sent it to you. Young girl was stabbed to death. And her mother was, there trying to, had got there towards the end, and her mother did like a long post just saying that she will never forget that she had to hold her baby's stomach trying to keep the blood in, and the baby looked up to her, door looked up to her, asking for her to help her mom, and she felt helpless. She said, but she'll never forget the group of people that stood by and recorded her daughter getting stabbed and when her daughter took her last breath. And so when you say that we are at risk and we are, the homicide, I think she was 14 or 15. I'm not sure. I should have shared it with you. But I mean, just reading her mother's words brought tears to my eyes because we will sit there
Mm-hmm.
present and watch somebody be murdered and record this shit, y'all. Like that is didn't try to seek help, didn't try to you watch this baby get stabbed multiple times and then watch her bleed out and die in her mother arm. And y'all sat and recorded the shit. So yes,
And the
we
very
that's why
last
these
one,
type of things
yeah,
are so important that we have these type of things so black girls can know their worth because I couldn't even imagine being a teenager in 2024. I would probably think I wasn't shit because they just portray us like we are nothing. So these babies walking around here thinking that they are unlovable.
yes,
They shouldn't be protected. You know what I
yes.
mean? That oh, that's just how it is in our community, and that's not how it is. You know what I mean? So I'm very glad that we have these type of forums coming up and discussions and groups for these young girls to be able to know that baby, you are worth it, you are lovable, you are loved, you are all of the above. So big
The
ups.
last poster we have, because we get ready to release a whole nother slew of new posters for this year. But this one says, for the love of her, love black girls. This says black girls are 6 times more likely to be expelled, 3 times more likely to be suspended, and 4 times more likely to be arrested than white girls.
Yeah. Leave it.
The black woman has been the protector of our community for so long. If they coming after her, that means this is the end of you. All right, family.
Hmm.
And with that, sister,
Hey, I thank y'all for tuning in. I'm a little under the weather if y'all can't tell by my voice. So can't be on here too long tonight because I done had a whole sneeze attack. I had to mute my mic. But thank y'all for tuning in. Remember this week, y'all. I know it's Women History Month. We should celebrate women every day. Um, so I would just say do something special for yourself because you deserve it. And we will see y'all next Sunday. I holla.